am the Kid Movie Ninja. Hi, Internet! And welcome to Kid Movie Ninja with your hosts Fighting Leaf and Husky the Wolf. Just so you know, I am going to be alternating between Kid Movie Ninja and You're Gonna Regret It, checking out the good and the bad, simultaneously picking away at the kid movie apocalypse that's coming up, and preserving my sanity long enough to actually survive it.
So, what's on the agenda for today?
Well, normally I prefer to review movies that were made within the past 10 years, but lately I've been getting a lot of requests for movies made from the early to late 2000s.
Okay!
If that's what you all want, let's go ahead and take a look at Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Not a lot of backstory for this one today. All we really know is that it's based on a book of the same name, and what is that thing?
A Happy Little Elf. That one has a gun right there.
Spring is the springiest time for a song.
Again, you get used to it!
I'm sorry to say that this is not the movie you will be watching.
Oh my crap, good! Thank you, Mr. Narrator Man!
That would be this movie's stand-in for author Lemony Snicket himself, voiced here by Jude Law. The real story he's going to tell us is a great deal darker than some happy little elf.
I don't care if he shows us a movie about Freddy Krueger eating at Fazbear's Pizzeria! Anything would be better than...
If you like stories about clever and reasonably attractive orphans, suspicious fires, carnivorous leeches, Italian food, and secret organizations,
then you have some oddly specific tastes and should be very concerned. Our esteemed narrator goes on to explain what each of the three Baudelaire children will be contributing to this film. Violet, played by Emily Brown, is the team inventor. Klaus, played by Liam Aiken, is the reader, knowing many, many things.
And Sonny, played by baby twins Kara and Shelby Hoffman, bites everything! She's my favorite.
Sunny was at an age when one mostly speaks in a series of unintelligible shrieks. For instance, which probably meant, "Look at that mysterious figure emerging from the fog." Or perhaps, "What is a banker like Mr. Poe doing, trudging through the sand to find us at Briny Beach?"
That is a smart baby!
This is what baby geniuses should have been like. Well, this banker, Mr. Poe, played by Timothy Spall, shows up to tell them that their parents are dead and their house is burned to the ground.
Well, this is awkward. Apparently the fire was set from a long distance away, using science or something.
A refraction of light, like from a magnifying glass. Evidently, the narrator was involved in the investigation that revealed this bit of information.
Still, we just met these kids, and most movies would, wait until after we've made some kind of emotional connection to them before they destroy their entire world, but this movie doesn't beat around the bush. It goes right to the doom and gloom.
Klaus finds a spyglass in what used to be his father's desk, and that begins a web of mystery spinning around in his mind.
This is an excellent opportunity to walk out of the theatre, living room, or airplane where this film is being shown. It's not too late to see a film about a happy little elf.
Do not want!
Speaking of things we don't want, here's Jim Carrey.
What?
Hello, hello, hello. I am your beloved Count Olaf.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, the Baudelaire children are pretty much screwed. This is Count Olaf, their new guardian, played by Jim Carrey. Pretty much the main reason people came to see this movie in the first place.
Also, ankle plot point, moving on. Let's get to that Italian food now.
So yes, words don't really describe just how awful a human being Jim Carrey is in this movie. Watching Count Olaf trying to pretend to love these kids is like watching GLaDOS from the Portal games pretend she has emotions. That's the frightening thing about this guy. He's always performing, always pretending.
So yeah, he's clearly out to pick up these kids' money and doesn't give two flips about their happiness or well-being. At one point, he orders them to make him supper, and they pass up piles of perfectly good rats and cockroaches in favor of some pasta noodles they find.
Where's the roast beef?
Roast beef?
Beef, yes, roast beef. It's the Swedish term for beef that is roasted.
I am uncomfortable.
Let's go back to prehistoric times when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
I am more uncomfortable.
Backhand slap.
No. Stop doing that.
No. Understandably, the children are very quickly fed up with the good count, and, okay, some of this dialogue does feel a little stilted, but it's not a big deal.
Klaus blames their parents for leaving them in this mess by not having any sort of plan for them if they should ever die. But Violet has a counter-argument.
Apparently, their parents had left them alone before, and the kids thought that they had abandoned them, when in reality, their parents had sent them a long, eloquent letter telling them that something had come up, and that they loved them very much. It just got lost in the mail and never ever showed up.
They erect a little sanctuary for themselves so that they can be away from Cuckoo McCrazy Guy downstairs. Ah, isn't this nice? The next scene's gonna ruin this, isn't it?
Custody granted.
Yep.
Does no one else see how crazy this guy is? Anyone?
No, that's the thing. Grown-ups are useless in this movie. You see, after you've been alive for a certain amount of time, you feel like you understand everything about the world and how it works. Sure, horrible things do happen, but they happen over there, very far away.
That means when things do happen here, nobody's ready for them, and grown-ups try to explain them away as if they didn't.
While this is far from universal, it happens enough to where Olaf in this movie can take advantage of that. He knows how these grown-ups think, and he knows what boundaries to push and what not. Which is how he almost gets away with murdering the children.
Wait, what? Holy crap, he parked the car in the middle of the train tracks and locked him in? Aren't there any safety railings or anything? Ah, and that freaking elf is back!
But the kids aren't defeated yet. After messing around with everything, they put their heads together to solve their problem. Klaus, having read many books on trains, knows that they need to hit a rail switch to save their skins. And Violet rips up the car, and Sunny bites the head off this freaking elf thing, to whip up a means of getting to it.
Also, grown-ups are freaking useless!
Yeah, so they... Oh.
Quick, go back in.
Uh-oh.
Hurry up! Back in the bacon! Ha! Eat it! So Mr. Poe arrives and finally does something sensible and takes away the kids from the crazy guy.
Allowing a child of Sonny's age to drive a car is simply not good parenting.
For really, really stupid reasons. Whatever. Hooray for victory!
It's been fun.
I'm going to get you no matter where you go, no matter what you do, I'll find you. You are so deceased.
I need an adult!
Preferably one who isn't useless.
Well, we sort of get our wish. This is their new guardian, Uncle Monty, played by Billy Connolly. He's a herpadermatologist.
Snakes are kind of a passion of his.
That's the two-headed cobra.
Well spotted.
Is that a he or a she?
I've no idea. Didn't think it polite to ask.
That raises so many questions.
Well, Uncle Monty's mental health aside, let's meet the incredibly deadly Viper trademark.
Oh, I'm sorry. My ribbon just jammed.
Remember when that's how those used to work?
Yeah. Wait. No, Husky, we're not quite that old.
Yeah.
Oh look, bad CGI from the early aughts. Anyway, Uncle Monty insists that the incredibly deadly Viper trademark can't possibly hurt anyone because its name is a big fat lie.
Also, they're going to Peru. Why are they going to Peru? Well, he uses a lot of words to say it, but it's pretty much because these kids need to finally feel like they're safe. And the only way they can do that is by getting away from the place where all these terrible things have been happening to them. He also has a significant Spyglass thing, so he knows the secret behind it.
And so, the Baudelaire children went to Peru and together had wonderful adventures with their loving and wonderful new guardian. The end.
Wait for it.
These are the words I desperately wish I could type.
Of course, because we still have about an hour of movie left. There comes a ring at the door, and who should be on the other side other than Jim Carrey?
I do not want Jim Carrey ringing my doorbell. Cameo!
What, did you think it was really gonna be him?
Yeah, these two know Jim Carrey when they see him too, so they don't let him in. Okay, scratch that then. But once again, grown-ups are useless.
Not only does Uncle Monty fall for this disguise, but he apparently invited him to show up in the first place. He apparently invited his actual assistant to come in first, but he couldn't make it.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
I don't know.
So Count Carrey Scary over here is invited into the house, and like always, even the good grown-ups don't listen to kids.
Since Olaf is never going to leave these kids alone with Monty, they need to get their message across to him in some other way. And even though so much could have gone wrong with this plan, I still have to admire Violet's ingenuity.
But of course, grown-ups don't listen, so he ignores them.
Actually, in this case, he does listen to them.
Hajime, what?
So he gives Olaf a test to milk a milk snake, not to be confused for the similarly colored coral snake. And of course, Count Olaf knows nothing about snakes, so he beats a hasty retreat. Sadly, Monty, like all grown-ups, thinks he knows more than he does and believes Olaf to be a spy from the Herpetological Society, and Olaf takes this chance to prevent further communication.
Oh, and if you kids should get restless during the night, I'm right down the hall, and I'm a very light sleeper. In fact, I hardly sleep at all.
I still need an adult!
It turns out you're not the only one. Olaf has his sights set on Uncle Monty, and
he's found dead the next morning from snake venom.
It's like walking
pretty much, yeah.
to your bedroom in the dark. It is a curious thing, the death of a loved one.
Uncle Monty?
It's like walking up the stairs to your bedroom in the dark and thinking that there's one more stair than there is. Your foot falls down through the air and there's a sickly moment of dark surprise.
Whoa, nice narration!
indeed it is.
This Lemony guy should write books or something!
Yes. Yes, he should.
Oh no, Uncle Monty's a Smurf now! That monster!
Olaf tries to pass off the murder as an accident caused by the incredibly deadly Viper TM, and having his fellow actors in his troupe pose as forensics experts to back him up.
No, you don't understand. The incredibly deadly viper couldn't have killed him because it's one of the least dangerous and most friendly creatures in the animal kingdom.
You mind if I skip the paperwork on this?
I think that'd be best.
You are the worst cop ever!
Luckily, Sunny has her own plan to clear the apparently gentle snake's good name.
All the while, the grown-ups are completely blind to the freaking obvious until this happens. So yeah, if this were something that killed people, she would be Snake Chow by now.
Leaving Olaf's facade full of enough holes to merit him and his fake investigators to make their escape. And Mr. Poe is still oblivious to the fact that it was Olaf in disguise this whole time.
So off they go to find yet another guardian, Aunt Josephine, a crazy neurotic played by Meryl Streep.
What's that?
Not that quickly. You could trip over the welcome mat and decapitate yourselves.
You laugh.
But those things are sharper than they look. So yeah, this woman is terrified of absolutely everything. The radiator.
I never turn on the radiator. I'm frightened that it might explode.
Doorknobs.
Well, I'm always afraid that the doorknobs will shatter into a million tiny pieces, and one of them will hit my eye.
The fridge.
Come away from the fridge. If it falls, it'll crush you flat.
And realtors.
Irrational fear.
Is this a bad time?
But you do love her some grammar, though.
Grammar is the greatest joy in life, don't you find?
It also doesn't help that her house is literally built on wooden stilts over the edge of a cliff. Not on the cliff, over it.
What's strange is that she used to be quite the daring doer before her husband died. I guess her spouse was the source of her superpowers or something.
They happen upon another piece of the mystery. A photo with Crazy Lady, Uncle Monty, and their parents, as well as many others, all with significant spyglasses. But this, like everything else, scares Aunt Josephine, so no more secrets for you.
Did I die in a fire?
No. Silly child, no. He was eaten by leeches. Come, I'll show you.
Awesome! Apparently, Lake Lacrimose here is full of killer leeches that swarm if they smell food.
I told him IQ must wait 1 hour before going into the water. But he only waited 45 minutes.
Yeesh, leeches are sticklers, aren't they?
She really should move, but realtors are scary. Oh yeah, throughout the movie, Lemony Snicket has been making his own commentary in the form of narration.
There are two kinds of fears. Rational and irrational.
We're not showing them because they would make us unnecessary.
So if you want to hear them for yourselves, go watch the movie.
These kids decide Aunt Josephine needs to go out of the house, but Poop Tech Pappy here makes it pretty much the biggest mistake of their life.
Yep, Count Jim Carrey Olaf is back with another lame disguise that fools everyone who hit puberty.
Sheesh, how many costumes does one guy need?
Yeah, whatever. Science!
Yeah, who on earth would need that?
And again, what's the theme here?
Grown-ups are useless. Grammar is the #1 most important thing in this here world to me.
And that's why you use this expression before.
I can't tell you how sorry I is.
Klaus isn't taking any more of Count Olaf's guff and tries to reveal a significant ankle tattoo. But wouldn't you know it, Olaf is one step ahead of them. That's dedication right there.
I've had to deal with that sort of thing ever since my leg was chewed off by the lacrimose leeches. Why didn't I wait an hour before swimming? Why?
Yeah, he seems to know exactly what buttons to press to get what he wants out of most people, and is a master of manipulating the system and dealing with people who never think outside of their own little boxes.
In dumb human speak, that means she buys it hook, line, and sinker, and goes off with Olaf to be alone for a while. Also, more of Olaf's goons have infiltrated this town, too.
Upon returning home, however, they happen upon a shattered window and a suicide note left by Aunt Josephine. This movie is rated PG.
Kids movie!
Funny thing about this note, though, it's full of grammar mistakes, which Klaus figures out is actually a secret code left for them to find her. Curdled K. Now here's what I find interesting. This flashback shows Aunt Josephine close up and from the side,
while the actual scene of this in the movie was from behind and at a distance.
Meaning this flashback really is from Klaus's perspective, not the audience's. A nice, subtle touch.
Didn't think we'd catch him, Mr. Director Pants. But we're smart. We're smart, like, really smart.
Don't hurt yourself.
Smart!
Before they leave the storm-battered building, they find Ike's room, Josephine's late husband, and finds that he was investigating fires, much like the ones that killed their parents and Uncle Monty's family. Oh yeah, that happened too. Uncle Monty also had a family who died in a fire. Spoilers, moving on.
But then the house decides that it's ready to die now and begins turning to and fro. How do they get out of this?
Why, with science, of course!
Sure enough, after a bit of fridge logic and every single one of Aunt Josephine's irrational fears coming to life through sheer dumb unluck, Violet devises a way of getting them to safety by rolling an anchor to one side of the floor and flinging it into a pillar, propelling them out of harm's way.
Also, that duck was there. And yes, he was voiced by Gilbert Gottfried, who went uncredited for some reason. My house!
From there, Klaus says they should go to the police, but Violet rebuffs him.
They won't listen. They never listen.
And that's because...
Grown-ups are useless! Aw, they're learning! So Klaus pulls up some of his knowledge of sailing from the tons of books he's read about it, and somehow guides them over Lake Leech-a-Lot to Curdle Cave, where they meet up with Crazy Lady!
Count Olaf forced me to write that will, and that it nearly killed me to add in all those grammatical errors. So did you bring groceries?
Groceries? We just came through a storm.
Oh yeah, that also happened.
Off screen, of course.
But yes, Aunt Josephine wants to spend the rest of her life living in this cave because she's terrified of the person she knows to be Count Olaf now.
So, how do they convince her to get out of there?
You know, Aunt Josephine, Curdle Cave is for sale.
How else?
Realtors! Finally, we get a little more info on the mystery. Turns out that Aunt Jo's husband, their parents, and Uncle Monty were all investigating mysterious fires before dying off one by one.
Their lead suspect is none other than... oh wait, leeches. And to further cement how incompetent Aunt Josephine is, she was the one who attracted them by having eaten a banana 2 seconds ago.
Lucky for them, someone comes to their rescue.
Hello, hello, hello.
Just kidding, they're not lucky at all!
Once more, it's Count Olaf, with no disguise, coming to take the children away again. Even he knows Aunt Josephine is no threat to them, so he lets her live too.
Haven't.
What?
Until she corrects his grammar, in which case he lets her to her fate with the leeches.
Olaf gives Klaus a lake swirly, and that's all it takes to convince Mr. Popo here that he would make a good guardian after all. But there's one problem with Olaf's plan.
The law clearly states that you would not inherit the Baudelaire fortune if anything happened to the children.
Say what?
That's right. He wouldn't have gotten 1 red cent if anything had happened to the kids, since he's not blood related to them.
Yeah, he'd have to, marry one of them to get their fortune at this point. He would.
He would.
That ain't legal!
It is.
No, but it's just a play. You can't get our fortune by marrying me in a play.
Oh, can't I?
Well, he has a way.
You're kidding!
He's using real legal documents as props, cast a real justice of the peace in his play, and is holding Sonny hostage in case Violet decides to reject him.
That diseased maniac!
Very much so. The stage is set, and now it's time for the thrilling finale. It's time for the wrap-up. So the play begins, Klaus slips off to find a way to save his sister, even though VVB won't shut up about the fact that Violet saved herself in the book for the express purpose of avoiding the damsel in distress trope. Klaus discovers a super high-powered magnifying glass thing that Olaf has in his secret tower. Oh yeah, Olaf has a secret tower, by the way. That was established before. That he used to light up the fires from miles away, solving the mystery of the freak fires. Violet tries signing with her left hand, but Olaf catches her, even though it apparently worked in the book, so why they changed it, I have no idea. The marriage goes through, and Olaf makes sure everyone knows it, flaunts how stupid everyone's been for not listening to the children at any point. But the sky clears up enough for Klaus to use the solar cannon, which looks an awful lot like the significant tattoo on Olaf's ankle, to barbecue the legal document, which is apparently enough to nullify the marriage now that everyone knows that he's evil. Olaf is sent to jail forever, but not before enduring ironic punishments. The kids revisit their burned-down house, find their parents' long-lost letter, find another mysterious spyglass in it, and the Baudelaire children are whisked away to yet another guardian who will hopefully not try to murder them this time.
The end!
Well, it finally happened. I reviewed a live-action kids movie that I actually liked. It's a very surreal, highly stylized story, the kind which I would almost describe as a live-action cartoon. I've seen other movies try to be like that, but fail because they see being stylized as an excuse to make sloppy or lazy decisions. Not so with this film. It takes its role as surrealist entertainment seriously and does everything it can to make a compelling, though often weird, story. Of course, the real star of this movie is Jim Carrey's performance as Count Olaf and his many faces. Talk about a living cartoon character. Now, the reason this performance works so much better than, say, Agent Suggs did in Road Trip was because the entire world was built and designed to accommodate this over-the-top performance. He is as dark as the world around him. He lives in a maniac's home, keeps a maniac's company, and his shallow motives reflect the very shallow, self-important person that he is. And when you see just how effective he is at tricking everyone, you can see him as the truly terrifying madman he is, and overcoming him is made all the sweeter for it. Like I said before, it occurred to me recently that I have never looked at a live-action movie that I actually liked on this show, so this is a good change of pace.
Next time, though, we got a little something different planned.
Not only will it not be live-action,
but it's gonna be really, really bad.
Keep those requests coming, folks. The kid movie apocalypse won't stop itself. The kid movie ninja. This Patreon shoutout goes to Jordan Mathis and Steve Sharp. Check out Steve's music at Sharp Rain Music at his YouTube page. The link is in the description below. Take care.